Episode 3. Welcome to Extra Special Brews. Steven Spears.
Will Cushman.
Welcome to the third episode here. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm surprised we made it this far. Because for so long it was, let's just get one done. And now we've got 3 done. And 2 of them were a full-on road trip. Yep. So it's been awesome. This episode, we've got Straight to Ale. I enjoyed myself a lot. I was really surprised how much we got into the experience with them.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking to myself, this is cooler than I thought.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it was fun going up to Hunstville again, being 300 yards away from the last episode we recorded. But Straight to Ale is actually in the middle school building, and they've got so much space that when they were showing us around, I just kept thinking, holy crap, there's more.
Yeah, exactly.
There's more. When does it end?
Yeah.
And it's so much more than I thought it was going into it.
And because the way we got this set up was when we got done with episode 2, we just wandered over to Straight to Ale, found out who we needed to talk to. So we got a kind of first taste of the brewery, of the place, and I thought it was cool, but I just didn't realize to the extent of what they've got going on with a restaurant, with all these plans to add on to it, a speakeasy. It's just nuts how much they've got going on over there.
Yeah, and they're charging forward with their expansion plans too. They have not stopped at any point. They've just kept adding on and on and on.
Yeah.
So.
And it was interesting too because the last one we made a point to go later in the day, and we were getting up at 8 a.m. to drive to Huntsville. And you don't really sit down and have a beer at 10 a.m., so there was actually no beers enjoyed during this recording. Yeah. They were just very much enjoyed after the recording.
Yeah.
So across the board, we had a great experience at Straight to Ale.
Yeah, it was great. We met with Dan and Matt. Mm-hmm. Dan is one of the original founders, and Matt is the marketing manager, I believe. Operations
manager, yeah.
And we had a great conversation with them in the speakeasy, which was pretty cool.
And we get into that as this gets going. Enjoy episode 3 with Straight to Ale.
Hey, I'm Dan Perry. I'm the owner, founder, head motherfucker in charge of Straight to Ale.
Nice.
I'm Matt Broadhurst, the operations sales manager here at Straight to Ale.
Right on. So from the get-go, was this your idea?
Yeah, initially it was a group of friends. There's a bunch of us homebrewers getting together. Every homebrewer's dream is to start a brewery. So we actually followed through once we got the laws changed. And it was a struggle, initially, but it seems to be rolling pretty good now.
Yeah. That's what I noticed too. 8th anniversary just happened.
Yep.
Is that correct?
8th anniversary. Thank you.
Yeah. How does it feel? How does it feel in 8 years?
It feels great. Feels tired, but great.
They're tired. But.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff happening. So we're all still excited about everything. But it's definitely a different monster than it was when we started.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you guys started in basically a garage at first? And
the first iteration of Straight to Ale was a 12 by 24 shed in my backyard out in New Hope, Alabama, back when homebrewing was still illegal.
Nice.
So we, got the friends together. We all hung out and brewed and started entering some competitions and started winning them. And I'm like, hey, I know all my friends, really like to drink my beer for free. I wonder if we could start a brewery and actually someone would pay for a glass of my beer. And we went with it, and it just kind of, evolved as we got the laws changed. And we started in a little 500-square-foot room in an old abandoned mill with a 3-barrel brew house. So, and then we've grown from there over the years.
Yeah. Grossly underestimated the Huntsville craft beer scene once.
Yeah, we went in with a different attitude. We just wanted to have a cool place to hang out with our friends and drink some beer. And when we started releasing it, in town, the demand was just crazy.
Really?
And we all did it just part-time after work. That's the way we started. And we realized that there was a real chance to make a business out of it and actually, not just for fun.
Yeah. So do you remember, at what point you were putting stuff out and you realized we need to turn this into a full-time thing?
We really realized it as soon as we released our first beer at the Nook back in the day.
Awesome.
we were going to have a beer release, and it was just, we figured it'd be just a casual thing, and they rented this big circus tent and put it up out back, and we opened with maybe 6 to 10 beers, that we had been playing with, and the crowd just went nuts, and everybody started hitting us up for beer. So the demand was there, and just at the time it wasn't being supplied because there was nobody else in town except for Old Town Brewing was here, and they kind of catered to not necessarily the craft beer guys. They were trying to compete with your BMC crowd. And so, a ton of demand in Huntsville. We had a lot of people that, come from outside of Huntsville, all around the world, that come here to work. So they knew craft beer already, and they were ready for, something to pop up like us.
Yeah, just waiting for it. It was prime for you.
That's awesome. It's a pleasant surprise to have.
It was
your opening.
It was a shock, It was a very cool time because we put a lot of work. It's tough to get a brewery started, even on a small scale. The paperwork and all the legal hoops and Huntsville hadn't really, except for Old Town, hadn't dealt with it. And we were trying to do some new innovative things, and it was a lot of hurdles we had to clear to get that thing open.
Yeah, I'm sure. And you guys had a space between then and now.
Yeah, we were our second location. We actually we outgrew our first one really quick, and we were looking around for a place, and I got a call from the guys at Old Town, friends of ours, and said, hey, we're looking to shut this thing down. If you guys are interested, they put me in touch with the right people, and we took over their facility and bought all their equipment, and we went from our 3-barrel system up to a 20-barrel system. Nice. with a bunch of fermentation, and we were able to start packaging at that time, and thought we'd never outgrow that place, And
that was the pinnacle.
Yeah, no. we looked at it, it's like, oh my God, this thing's huge. It's 10,000 square feet, and we had maybe 300 barrels of fermentation in it, and we thought, no way, we'll never fill that. We ended up knocking out all the walls and adding more fermentation over the years, and we ended up with 1,200 barrels of fermentation in there by the end of it.
Wow! Started running out of the wet area.
Yeah. And the thing that changed to make that happen was we were gradually getting the laws changed through Free the Hops and the Alabama Brewers Guild. We were able to start doing things that we were never able to do before. The tap room and stuff like that made it much easier to make a business work. So
Matt, were you on from the beginning, get-go?
No, I came in right before the end of the first year.
Okay. Still in the shed, or
no? I'd moved here from Chicago, and I was working with a company down here, and I met Dan through Facebook.
Nice.
Did
you poke him?
Kind of just like I did not poke him. Gotcha. Not yet. I didn't know him yet.
Later, that would come.
Yeah. But we ended up meeting each other like face to face at a brew fest that had happened
out in Providence.
Yeah. And we just got along and started. I was doing some graphic design for him on the side and stuff, and then slowly started coming to the brewery and cleaning kegs, and kind of like what everybody did from the beginning when you started here back in those days. You kind of paid your dues and worked your way up.
Yeah.
I was pulling weeds, mowing yards, doing whatever had to be done for the brewery. And then I had actually worked for Budweiser for a short time as the craft brands manager. Gained a lot of knowledge there, just how distributors work, stuff like that. And Dan asked me one day if I was interested in coming to work here full time. I said, absolutely. So I'm going on 5 years here in July full time that I've been back. So,
awesome. That's
awesome. 7 years in some consistency. 5 years now full time. So
right on. Yeah. So, and this is something I wanted to ask, and I'm sure Will's curious too. There's become more of the draw for craft beers, the brewery experience. How are y'all able to stand out? Like, can you pinpoint any specific things you do that you realize this is where we're going to make our name known?
Well, we're one of the earliest ones here. You had Good People and probably Back 40 and us have been here the longest. Now it's a very crowded market, and there's so many guys out there doing great stuff. You absolutely have to try to stand out. I think one of the things that we do really well is we have a ton of variety. We go from IPAs to German Hefes to we do some Belgians. We're adding a sour room here. We're doing a little bit of something for everything. Obviously, with this new facility, I mean, it's huge and it's a big draw. We've got, how many taps we got here now, Matt?
Total 42.
Yeah, like 42 taps, and we're adding 20 more in the two new areas that we're opening soon. When people come here, it's an excuse me, I'm stuttering. It's an experience versus just coming to have a beer. We've got a great kitchen. We've got the distillery that's, we're putting out some great spirits under the Shelter Cavern Spirits name. We've even got some wines that we make, and the ciders are doing really well. So we try to do a really good job in every single category. So we've hired people that specialize in certain things. And we just give them the tools they need, and we get out of the way, and they get to be creative and create these unique things that stand out and draws people in.
That's interesting too, because starting off doing the beer, I've always wondered when you transition to doing spirits and all, do you just take that on and say, I'm going to see what I can do with it? But that's interesting that you hired on people who knew what they were doing with it.
Absolutely. When you get serious about it and you're looking for some wide distribution, you have to, like you said, you have to stand out. You have to have the best quality product you can. We were doing some distilling. We got out in the woods a little bit back in the day, and we had stuff that we were proud of. And we tweaked that and brought it in, and then when we started bringing some other people in with more experience, I noticed a huge bump up in quality. So we're like, we could try to sit here and do this ourselves, or we could just pay the money and hire the guy who knows what he's doing, and that's what we've done in all the different departments.
Yeah, we've been really lucky. We've had some really good people come on board in the last 2 years that just blow it out when they come in, and they tell you all the right things when you're interviewing, and you just don't know until they get here. And we've been really lucky that everybody's worked out and everybody's brought everything they have to the table and produced some really good liquid across the board.
Is that how do you do an interview for saying you can distill? Like, do you bring in something you cooked out in your backyard and say, hey, try this?
There's obviously a little of that going on.
Okay. I should have brought my stuff.
Yeah. You have to be real careful with the legal issues and that kind of stuff. But people have experience. I don't know how they got it. They might be in Tennessee brewing, legally, but it's just what it is. We seek out, and people seek us out too. It's kind of cool. They come looking at us. We're looking for them, so we get together and always try to add to the team. We've got a great team of brewers right now, and just keep growing it. Right?
Yeah, it's what we do.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see their LinkedIn page too, like how they word that as like a master liquid producer.
We've got some really interesting resumes. Yeah.
Do you remember what the most interesting one was?
God, honestly, man, I've had some of the most effed up, weirdest ones that have come across the bar. And it's always the people that just kind of walk in. They're like,
write it on a napkin.
I want to brew beer. And you're like, all right. And you're just looking at them like, I am not getting the brewer to come talk to me, man. Like, and then they give you the resume, and it's like they've switched jobs every 3 months. And they've never worked, anywhere in the beverage business in their entire life. But they're like, but I homebrew. And I'm like, okay, well, let me take your resume. And you get people that are just bizarre sometimes, man. And I get it. Like, hey, they're passionate. They want to get their foot in the door, It's just sometimes it just makes you nervous, man. Some of the people that come in.
Seems like once we got the distilling going, we got a lot of really interesting, quirky people coming in, and it was fun to sort of weed through them to end up where we are now.
Yeah.
I mean, our head distiller's pretty quirky
quirky
guy.
too, yeah.
but he knows what he's doing. So
I feel like that's where the best stuff comes from, though.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the brewing, I'm sure when you guys got started, a
bunch of weirdos, man.
Yeah, people probably looked at you thinking too, like, you mean you could have a shed in your backyard where you make stuff? I mean, it's kind of weird to a lot of people, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. And it's funny, because homebrewing was illegal in Alabama, and so we do tours every Saturday and stuff like that. And we did them at the old brewery, and you get people that come in and. It's funny talking to homebrewers, especially here in Huntsville, where you got so many of the homebrewers work for NASA or they're engineers, and they know more than you do. And so I used to always start the tours when I do them. Who here homebrews? The reporters are going to get the fuck out. I don't even want to deal with you today. And I mean it's Huntsville, man. You got engineers, you got scientists, you got people that are quirky to begin with, and then they homebrew or they're just big beer connoisseurs. And it's a cool scene, but you definitely come across some individuals in Huntsville. And
we actually try to work with the homebrewing community here a lot. We bring them in. I know most of them, or I used to. I guess there's a lot of new ones I probably don't. But we bring them in and we let them brew on our system, and we release it, and then they bring their friends in. It's kind of a cool thing. We always try to have one local homebrewer in the works in our system at all times.
Cool. Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
I never thought about rocket scientist homebrewers.
Oh, they're everywhere.
yeah.
Man.
I bet
Especially
there are
up
some
here.
pretty sweet homebrew systems out there.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The Rocket City Brewers have some amazing setups, and there's another group here in town that's got some really cool stuff as well. It's almost, when you get in there, it's almost like a competition.
Yeah.
You know, if some guy builds this huge, unique thing, the next guy's going to try to outdo him. It's fun, and you get to be really creative.
So what do y'all think, because this is something that we discovered too, just about Huntsville in general, how it's growing. We learned just a couple weeks ago how it's the third biggest city now, on pace to overtake even Birmingham, where we're from.
Not if I have anything to do about it.
Yeah. Do y'all know why that's happening? Because I'm curious to know, if from your insight of things.
Well, you know, in my opinion, I've lived here my whole life, and it's been a tremendous change from then till now, and just lately it's really seemed to have taken off. There's a lot of companies coming in, a lot of investments coming into Huntsville, and I think a lot of it is because our local politicians are doing a good job bringing these large businesses in.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you bring the larger businesses in, you have more people, you need more support organizations, more stuff like that. So I think they're just actively going out and trying to plan for the future and build Huntsville into I don't know what their target is.
where the end goal is.
But they have a plan, and they're actually executing it pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the first time. So, like I said, I moved from Chicago. The first time I was going downtown to meet some people, and I drove by downtown. Like, I just cruised right by it, and they're like, I ended up like almost in Scottsboro, and I was like, "Where's downtown?" They're like, the big building in the middle of it, Regions Bank. I'm like, "That's downtown."
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
now
they
it's
said big building,
it's
too.
changed now. It's a little bit more noticeable. You know, people have it's expanded a little bit. But I just remember that when I first moved here, I was just like, "Where did I move to?" You know, it was just small. You know, now it's expanded. More people come in. You know, with the military base and NASA and everybody else, plus local government bringing in, you know, Polaris and Remington, and it just keeps going. You know. Yeah.
That's true, yeah. I didn't even think about that,
you know,
too.
Brack came here 4 years ago and brought a ton of people to the military base, so it just keeps going, you know.
Did you guys make a push for Amazon, too? Like
We did. We were in the mix. Just sort of jokingly, I think everybody in the country was trying to get those guys. But and the downtown has been revitalized. There's a local group, Downtown Huntsville Incorporated, that has done a great job bringing businesses back, because as I grew up, people sort of fled the downtown area and it was just kind of empty.
Yeah.
And now they're putting a focus on bringing people back, and they're doing a real good job down there as well.
Yeah, it was all lawyers originally. You know, I think
I've noticed that downtown
there were
seemed to
two
always be
restaurants
that,
and
too.
all lawyers.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, downtown's definitely changed. Like Dan said, Downtown Huntsville Inc. has brought, you know, art on the square, and they do they do all sorts of stuff now that they
Food
just
truck
didn't.
rally last night.
Yeah, stuff they just
downtown,
didn't do, and now that, you know, they've got somebody focused on downtown, it's really changed the area.
Yeah, we had something like that. Revive Birmingham, kind of doing the same thing. But yeah, I mean, you guys are killing it out here, and you've got this facility over here, this campus that's kind of a little separate from downtown, where you've got so much going on here too. It's an awesome place.
It's what do they call it? The gateway to downtown.
Yeah, that's what they're calling it.
something like that.
I thought it was going to continue getting more exotic as it started. The gateway to the abyss of something. But yeah.
I wish.
But when Downtown Huntsville Inc., when they were trying to turn this into this kind of gateway to downtown, because Clinton does lead straight into the heart of downtown.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it just kind of worked out. You know, this area we're in now is revitalized a lot. Just in the last couple of years that we've been here, a lot of housing changes, new businesses popping up.
Well, this school here, I mean,
I forgot to even mention
Yeah.
we was in a middle school.
yeah,
right?
this is great. You know, we used to, my friends, we would pick them up from school here every day growing up. You know, some of my best friends went here, when they're growing up. But it had just, shut down, and they had, fenced it in barbed wire, and it was just falling apart. It was an eyesore, a huge eyesore in the middle of, the entrance to downtown. Mm-hmm. So we were looking to expand out of the Lehman Ferry location, and we came by here, and I was like, man, I would love to do something like that. But, I obviously, I don't have the money to do that. But we found a developer that was willing to work with us, and came in, and he just revitalized this whole school, built a whole nother section over there where our buddies at Yellowhammer are, and we got a lot of good restaurants here, including obviously I want to push mine, Ale's Kitchen, but the Campus 805 has a ton of stuff to do. We've got really 4 breweries right now, right on or right next to campus, and we've got tons of places to eat. and just Lone Goose up here. Got another great independent bar up here, so it's cool. You come to one place and you can wander through. It's all entertainment district, so you can purple cup it. Wander between the businesses.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then you said you were familiar with this, but you didn't go to this school.
I did not. We had a lot of friends that went here, and after school we would pick them up and we'd hang out until their parents got home and stuff. It was a long time ago.
Because I was thinking, if it was the middle school that I had gone to, I'd find like the place I used to hang out, like the bathroom I used to go to, and go drink a beer there. So just to really get that nostalgia.
It's funny. We actually get a lot of people that taught here. They come in and they're like, "Hey, I used to teach here," and then they start walking. They're like, "It's so different, it's so different." And then they're like, "This was my classroom." Like they'll go upstairs. We're like, "Oh, that's cool," And Damon from Wish Your Beer went here. He attended school here.
Yellowhammer guys were telling us.
Yeah, and that's a cool place over there too. I'm sure that helps you out too.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a community that we built here. Everybody gets it's still business. We're all trying to do what's best for us, but everybody gets along pretty well. What's good for us has been good for all the other businesses. So it's been pretty cool. We got an axe throwing place upstairs.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. There's
Man, you never have to leave this place.
No, you really don't. We got there. So it's cool. It's like up on the second floor. It's mixed use. There's a tattoo studio. There's a civil axe throwing.
Really?
There's a lawyer up there. There's a painting studio. I mean,
it's ironic that the lawyer is right by where the axe
the
is.
The lawyer's in the principal's office, so it's kind of cool. I don't ever actually see the person's there, but they got the principal's office. That's awesome. Set up.
I was gonna say, I see you've got some fresh ink there.
Oh yeah, Thursday. Yeah,
from upstairs.
the girl that moved in here is funny. Is her Leah? I've actually known her since I moved here.
Okay.
And she'd moved off for a while and came back, and she's a tattoo artist, and she'd come here and was looking at a space here and asked me, and the developer Randy Scrimshaw that built this out came downstairs and talked to me today. He's like, I don't know, man, like a tattoo shop. He has this idea of a tattoo shop.
Yeah.
She's booked out till September right now.
Nice.
She's not doing walk-ins. But so he had this very weird picture of what a tattoo shop was nowadays, and now he's like one of her favorite people. Like they're like, oh, we're gonna do this and this, and is your business good? Because it's just kind of funny how it's grown, and see some other people coming in. I think he was a little bit nervous about the axe throwing originally too, and then
I wonder why.
We've gotten to do it for free. It's awesome.
Yeah, you talk about stress relief.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Yeah, like we went up. Kimberly, our marketing manager, and I went up there and met with the guy that runs it, and he's like, "You guys want to throw axes?" And we're like, "Fuck yes, we want to throw axes." By the way, Kimberly's like 5 foot, like 100 pounds wet, and just heaving axes at this thing. It was like
ruthless.
So it's a cool atmosphere, man. It's cool to come out here. It's just cool to come here at night, like when we're busy, and see everybody, in the park on our patios, walking through the building. It's just cool to see.
Yeah. And even one of the aspects that we're actually recording in right now, the speakeasy.
Yeah.
I had read about, doing some research about how awesome it is if you can find it.
Yeah.
And so it did not, I'm not going to give away how you find it because the entertainment of getting here was too much, but it lived up to the hype of the speakeasy. Did you guys decide to do this after you started doing the distilling, or was that kind of an idea already?
I really have no idea what you're talking about, speakeasy. I don't know.
Never heard of it.
No, we built this with the idea of focusing our Shelter Cavern spirits in this area. So it's a cool room. You come out and we get craft cocktails. We got the very creative distillers coming up with all kinds of different spirits, from aquavit to absinthe to
the authentic absinthe.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you have to get that tested to make sure you don't have too much wormwood in it. You have to send it off, and so we don't want any ears missing or anything.
That's how you know it's a good stuff, though.
Yeah,
right?
but we got some great mixologists behind the bar, and they're putting together some great stuff with all our spirits, because we can't sell any alcohol in the building that we don't produce here.
Yeah.
So even your mixers or anything that have alcohol, we have to make them. So it's kind of a really cool thing.
That is cool.
Yeah, any cordials or anything like that we do, most bars would just bring in. We have to do them in-house, or we have to figure out a way to work around them. And thankfully, like downstairs, our distillers have figured that out and done some really cool stuff.
That's awesome.
They're doing in-house bitters and all sorts of stuff.
So what all do you guys routinely distill?
So vodka, gin, rum are the core 3 that we do, those are actually out in North Alabama, the ABC stores now.
Nice.
We were lucky enough to be able to put some of that out in market. And then we do a dark rum. We do there's so much. We do different flavored vodkas. We do a great vanilla vodka that all we do is drop a vanilla bean in it. Let it go for 2 weeks, and then put it on the silver. And it tastes like vanilla. It doesn't taste like fake vanilla. It doesn't.
Yeah.
People are always kind of blown away. Like, what'd you guys do to it? Like, we just dropped a vanilla bean in it.
It's weird. We do
Slice
what
it
you
open
should
and put it
normally
in.
do.
Yeah. Don't be nervous. Got a little couple black flecks in it because it's just the flavoring. And we do. We got some whiskeys going.
That's awesome.
We've got some variations on that we're testing out right now as far as the toast on it and stuff like that. How dark we want it, the flavor profile.
I'm really excited about. We're making. We're calling it whiskey knot.
Yeah.
Which is basically the base recipe for monkey knot, including the hops that we're distilling. And it's we've done some side by sides. We did a other day. We had 10 different whiskeys that we created side by side, and we had some people come in and go through, and we beat them up, throw them apart.
Souls.
Yeah, and we we picked out the best ones out of the 10, and that whiskey knot really came out. It stands out because of the hops we use, which you never really use in distilling. And it makes it just a little bit floral, but it still has a great whiskey character. So I'm excited about that. We're probably working on some whiskey flights here in the near future. That'll be a cool thing we'll have in the speakeasy.
That is cool.
Yeah, if you drink the base for it, you definitely if you're just drinking basically the white liquor off it. It's definitely got a hop profile to it that you don't expect. You know what you're getting into, but then you're like, wow, it's floral. It's a little bit citrusy, and then as we do the toast on it, it changes it, mellows it, and it changes a little bit. It's really good. It's really good.
Like, I'm trying to picture how, but I just don't think I've ever tasted anything in that kind of thing to where I can relate it to,
Well, we'll have to fix that. We'll have to taste that.
You're not going to have to twist my arm for that.
You mentioned earlier y'all are going to start doing some sours, some stuff like that. Are you planning on just recycling those barrels for the barrel aged stuff that you might be doing with that? And
we're definitely going to do a lot of
in-house?
barrel aging here in house. We currently have a great barrel aging program. I don't know if you all have walked through and seen the
in the
number of barrels
basketball
that we have.
team.
Yeah. But
With
we
the
want
basketball hoop stuff.
Yeah. we want to isolate that stuff just for extra caution. So we've got another area of the facility here that we're going to set up our sour room, and everything will be soured in that one area. We use a lot of barrels in that area just for that.
You can just use it for the whiskey and then
absolutely, yeah.
move it on
Yeah,
through
we'll be
until
moving barrels
they're
back and
exhausted.
forth for sure. We've put down a lot of barrels, of whiskey already, and just starting the aging process because you want to get it in now. You don't want to wait 6 months because you just lose 6 months of aging, right?
Yeah.
So we're putting a lot of effort in barreling and setting aside, and then when we empty those barrels, we'll definitely go back and maybe throw some unobtainium or something like that in our own barrels. So that'll be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Starting with new barrels for a change instead of buying somebody else's used barrels.
That's
very cool.
And you can go back down that list of people that have come in to offer to work here and just have them be your barrel transporter.
We're gonna need some of those probably. Barrels are getting out of control, but it's all right. It's good to have a program that not everybody else is doing.
Exactly.
And right now we've got the whiskey in Leica bourbon. So one of our Leica Russian Imperial Stout that we did in a bourbon barrel, and we've got a small batch of that testing out in one of those barrels. So I've gotten to taste it like a week ago. It's so good,
Nice.
but it's that rich chocolatey and kind of changes the flavor. It's really good.
I did see, and this was one of the things I wanted to commend y'all on, and I don't know if Kimberly's over it, but the website is easily one of the coolest, and this is the aspect that caught me off guard, was educating site, because you can actually go on there and see that that's in the works, that's coming like down the road here. I mean, with the graphs, and then each beer you can see what food pairs with it, how you should drink it.
That is all Kimberly.
Wow, I should
It's
look at
all
that website.
we should probably look at our website more, but no, Kimberly came on almost a year ago, and we were lucky to snatch her for cheap. And
Was she one of the crazy ones that came in?
No,
I just
no.
wanna
She
run
was
the marketing.
recommended, and she came in and was working part time for us, and started off with like the website and helped us get that because we just kind of neglected it. And she's like, "Well, I can do that," and then threw a price at us, and I'm like, "Wow, that's cheap. We should hire her." And she's done a great job, so we brought her on full time. And if it's marketing, if it's social media, if it's website, that is all Kimberly.
Yeah,
because Dan and I just look at it and
Yeah, it's
sure.
Good to have somebody we just count on. We don't have to worry about it. She just takes it and runs with it, and we don't ever have to worry about it, the quality or anything. She just always does a great job. Let's quit talking about Kimberly. She'll want to raise. I don't like this.
but she's always looking for new things to add, like adding some of the flavor profiles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's all her. In other words, we just put here's the beer, here's the ABV.
That's what you get used to is you
Yeah.
go on there, and a lot of times like it's not even been updated. It shows you our seasonal ones, and they're from like 2016 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You can't on any other site I've ever seen go on and see. Okay, come August, this is what I can come in and drink.
Yeah.
If I liked it last August,
Yeah.
or I've never heard of that. I'll make sure to come in August.
And we have
or
a tendency to
something.
change our schedule almost every year, so we keep her busy with moving things around and keeping stuff going. But yeah, that's all her, and it's nice for us not to think about it. Like here's the info. Do what you got to do with it.
Go for it.
Then it's on the website.
Yeah.
It magically appears.
That's weird how that works. Hey, I didn't have any questions about the website. Just a well done because that's
It looks great.
Good job,
definitely.
Kimberly.
Yeah, very cool. Even when you scroll over one and the can kind of gets a little bigger, or moves a little bit.
That was actually my idea.
Oh, yeah. I did have a little input, and it's the coolest part.
No,
of
I
it.
didn't really. I was just like, can't we make it do something? She was like, oh yeah, did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good
I
to
didn't
go.
know what I wanted to do, but she figured it out.
That's very well done. That's awesome.
For the people that don't know, you guys brew the beer in a basketball gym.
Yeah.
And my question was, how often do you guys play basketball in there?
Yeah.
The guys are out there a couple times a week shooting hoops.
Yeah.
Usually when there's something like really valuable sitting underneath the basketball goal.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, they if they're not riding skateboards through the brewery, they're playing basketball or frisbee or something.
Well, if they're not making you nervous, they're not doing their job.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So where does that name straight to ale? I mean, it's straightforward, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a story behind that.
It's an easy story. It was I got a little drunk at a beer festival up in Chattanooga, and Kevin Kenny from Driving and Crying. I don't know if y'all are familiar. It's a older band. They're still around today. They still kick ass. But he was on stage doing a song called "I'm Going Straight to Hell."
Uh-huh.
And me with my beer in my hand magically put that together. Straight to Hell. That'd be a great name for my homebrew shed in the backyard.
Yeah.
So I named it. We put a big sign up. It was kind of funny. And then when we actually got around to actually opening the brewery, we had a list of 40, 50 names, and that one just beat it out for some reason. I like it because it's different.
Yeah.
Usually a lot of the breweries are color object brewing, and it's like
Yeah.
I never wanted to be color object brewing.
Uh-huh.
You got Green Bus, you got Yellow Hammer, you got Blue Pants.
Yeah, like a Red River.
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
But nothing wrong with that. I'm not digging at anybody, but this was something different that kind of stood out, and I think it's always good to try to stand out in this industry.
Yeah. And just a name and a interesting can too.
Yeah.
Does it for me, and I'll be the sucker that says, I don't put a lot of thought into something other than it catches my eye. What kind of beer is it? Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
That's how I first tried Brother Joseph. And this guy didn't inform me of how potent it is. So I grabbed it. I'm thinking 6-pack. It's a Belgian double.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Little 8%er.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. It didn't say on it either, or I didn't look hard.
Oh,
enough.
We found out
sneaky.
that the TTB will fine you if you actually put your ABV on the can and you don't hit it exactly. So
really?
early on, we started getting scared of it. Nowadays, we're actually
we're dialed in now.
Yeah, we're dialed in now. We have a lab and all these things that we didn't have back in the day. But the first time we got audited by the TTB, they hit us up because our monkey knot was a little high. And I paid a fine. I was like, I'm not required to put that on anything.
Yeah.
So we didn't. But and our new redesign that's coming, we got some really cool redesigns of our cans coming out here very soon. We have the ABVs on them because now we're professional brewers now, right? Exactly. So we've got a lab guy that analyzes every batch and makes sure we're on point with all of the stuff.
Yeah,
So,
it was a nice surprise too because I brought it for just coming to dinner. And normally we have 2 or 3 beers at dinner each, and I mean, 2 into that, I was sitting there looking at Will saying, what's going on here?
They'll sneak up on you.
Where's the Corona? I need something.
Something a little lighter, and you didn't even
Knocking
taste it.
me
That was
out.
the wild thing too. And congrats on that
We are
because
really good at hiding the alcohol.
It's about balance, right?
Yeah.
If you do it right, even if it's a high gravity beer, you don't taste the alcohol. It's just there.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we've always done a real good job of the bigger beers, making them easy and approachable.
Mm-hmm.
So have you guys tried to hit that cap for the state of Alabama by producing a 13.9?
We did the first 13.9 in the state right at our opening.
Really?
And then we quickly went away from it because it's too big. It was a fun project. We called it Orbiter.
Yeah.
Because it was really, really high.
Yeah, that's cool.
And we flirted with it, and we occasionally will put something big out. But our purpose is not to get people drunk; it's to give them a quality, good tasting craft beer. So.
Yeah.
You mean that's not like a summer beer for everybody?
Yeah.
else?
Well, I mean,
we've had some happy accidents that end up higher, and we're like, wow. Our first cider, the first time we did a cider, man, it 9%.
Yeah,
it was.
Could you taste it though?
No, you couldn't taste it. It was like
Wow.
it was like candy, and everybody loved it. But we had a lot of people that we saw it was affecting people.
Yeah, I
so
could
we
picture
dragging people out.
We're like warning the tap room bartenders stuff like they're like, hey, like 2 of these, only 8-ounce pours. We're like, just be careful. They're like, really? I'm like, because people. I can chug a cider.
Well, that's what I was thinking. My
else.
wife, is that way. Goes for a cider, and she is as lightweight as it gets. So one, normal 4% cider, and by the end of it, she's giggling and all that fun stuff. So I can't imagine if that. I mean, it'd be perfect.
Yeah. We'll probably do it as a special release again down the road because it was really, really good. But our core cider now that we're going with is a 5%.
Yeah,
5%. So.
Put it out as an imperial cider.
Yeah. I mean, hey. Well, I don't think anybody else is doing that in the States. So.
That's true. Another niche there.
There you go. Yep.
So where are y'all going? As far as what's the next steps?
Straight to hell, man.
All right, that's where we ended.
You just lobbed it up there. And
I know. And you threw the alley-oop down
softball.
there. Yeah. So, I mean, how do you continue to? Because obviously you've grown to this. Is there plans to,
Absolutely
get bigger?
If you're not growing in this business, you're dying. I think so. We're actively looking at new opportunities. Obviously, I mentioned earlier, this place we got a big place, but it tends to get packed out. So we want to make sure everybody has a chance to come in and sit down and have a beer. So we're adding 2 more bars into the place in our front beer garden. We're not really utilizing that, so we're going to make that a sort of a German beer garden, a traditional German beer garden.
Oh, awesome!
And you come in, you get your half-liter mug of a German style beer and sit out there, and we'll have some food, that fits that.
Put some pretzels on the menu.
Absolutely, we've already got the
we got the BAMF.
Yeah, the BAMF pretzel is
Big ass motherfucking pretzel.
Oh, we had that.
Yeah.
We did have that.
Oh, we did. That's right.
Yeah.
So-
we were already a couple deep at that point.
All right, yeah.
We did. That was what Will was like. I need this to be able to walk to the next place.
Yeah.
So
That's man, we love that pretzel. That's when
We
we
sell a
started
lot
doing the
of those
kitchen.
things, yeah.
Dan and I were like, we got to have a big ass pretzel.
Yeah.
Like we got to have it.
It's a staple.
Yeah. And then the other thing we're doing is the Belgian / sour room. Because for me, I used to travel a lot for beer and love Belgium. We went through and did a couple of tours of that, and I want to sort of incorporate all the stuff that I really liked about the Belgian places we visited into this one bar. And it'll be strictly, all the beers will be strictly our Belgian stuff. It'll only be available in that bar along with our sours that'll be available there too. So
that's cool. It sounds
That's
like
all right here.
all right here.
Just
Like I said,
slightly
we got 45,000 square feet, and we're going to use it all.
Yeah, I'm thinking of could be rebranded as like the Epcot of beer. I mean, seriously, you can walk through, and especially once you get the Belgian and the sour going, you just kind of come through and get a tour of the world.
Yeah.
Something for everybody. That's kind of what I always wanted to do. So
That's so cool.
Yeah, very cool.
But yeah, we're always looking to change it up, and now with having our winery license and stuff like that, we've played with a few wines here and there, but we plan on doing more of that. Right now it's beer season, so it's full production. Selling as much as we can for the summer and doing what we do there. But I think the things here that we're adding and changing, nobody else really has everything that we have in one spot. Everybody does something really good. We're trying to do really good in multiple locations and give them their own kind of vibe and their own kind of flavor to what we're doing.
Because I mean, a lot of time when you spread yourself out like that, you run into we've got a real shitty vodka, but the beer's good, or our sours are all right, but you should try our vodka or something like that.
And that's exactly why we have spent the money and
Delegated.
hired the staff.
Yeah.
And given each guy, that he's responsible for this. This is what you do. Make it the best you can. And we've been real lucky to get the right people to make that happen.
That's awesome. And one of my other questions was going to be, what do y'all do when you're not dealing with all this stuff to stress relief and all that, but you got the Axe place upstairs.
Need to ask that one.
I sleep. I try. I don't know. Dan and I are here usually. I'm here 6 days a week. Dan's usually here 6 or 7. you guys ruined his. He's trying to go camping, but he had to come in here and do
Yeah,
that.
I know.
So you guys
we messed
ruined
up my camping.
We
trip.
got here and we hadn't even started yet, and he was like, "Well, I mean, I was going to go camping, but we can go later." And I'm like, "Wow, I feel like the biggest ass."
I got
in
the
world.
RV sitting outside with the air conditioner on. So when we finish this, I'm heading up to the Montesano. North Alabama's got a lot of great places to just go and relax, and we like to get off in the woods a little bit when we're not working. So
nice.
I'm an outdoorsy person.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. He does climbing, like
I've been up
bouldering
here a little bit.
I just kind of sit.
Yeah.
I get out there. I
do that.
Sit around the fire.
Exactly.
Usually with a beer in hand.
Yeah, you should have seen. He took me out a couple weeks ago to try it, and I did a lot of. Yeah, you should try that line there instead of when I got up there. It was like, hold on for dear life, and then I fall back down. It's like, I'll get it on the next one. You know, y'all go ahead. So, you got big events coming up you wanted to promote?
Kimberly
releases coming out.
Yeah, anything?
I'm gonna hand the mic over to Kimberly. She can answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Kimberly's been here the whole time.
Yes.
Little to be known.
Kimberly Casey, marketing director at Straight to Ale. Pleasure to finally be speaking.
The architect of the
well,
website.
she had to be here because she doesn't trust us not to say anything stupid.
Yeah.
Oh,
Once I knew we were allowed
Liability.
to swear, then I
Yeah, then
didn't
she-
care
yeah.
as much. But sometimes we
Nice.
have
She
to
would've
keep an
glared at
eye on
me if
these
I-
guys.
Side
swear
looks
in.
from the end of the table.
Well, it's straight to ale. If you got like the devil look going, and y'all came in here in ties and speaking very articulate and proper.
It's a brewery. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
Right,
You know?
exactly. So coming up, we have Monkey Knot Day on the 26th. We're doing a celebration of Monkey Knot, and we're going to have variations on. We're going to have Mango Monkey Knot, Morning Monkey, which is a coffee brew, Monkey Hot,
Nice.
Fan
which is
favorite.
good, and a couple of dry hopped variants, as well as our whiskey knot flights that day. We're going to have some music that night in our gym back there in the brewery area, which is pretty
Nice.
cool. And then that following Monday, Memorial Day, the 28th, we're actually releasing our Monkey's Uncle. So,
I saw that. I'm very
Our
excited
double
for that.
IPA. Yeah.
Double IPA,
It's
yeah.
also Dan's birthday, by the way.
it all, also
really?
Dan's birthday. Happy birthday to Dan.
Happy early birthday to Dan. That's awesome. Well, anything like coming up, once we get into the fall too, if you kind of want to be planning for, I don't know if you plan out that far. We don't.
Yeah, we try to plan out our entire schedule. It's a brewery. It doesn't always go out on time. Stuff happens. But fall coming up, we did a beer 2 years ago. We started out with a Stout at the Devil. It's a caramel coffee oatmeal stout. We put it out in the fall. This year we decided, screw it, we're bringing it back in the summer. So that's coming out here in 2
For
months.
people like me.
Yeah, well, there's still people that want that style.
Yeah.
In the summer, people still want to drink dark beer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming up here as one of the releases. We got a new beer that we haven't put out in the market yet. We got a blackberry goza.
Ooh,
Called,
okay.
what are we calling it?
Boldly goes.
Boldly Goes.
Oh,
So
I like it.
I've gotten to drink some of the test batch. It's awesome.
nice. That sounds
So
gorgeous.
we
Sound good.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I don't got anything else.
Nope.
Well, cool.
I'm good.
Thank y'all for coming on with
Yeah,
us.
thanks,
No,
thank
thank
you.
y'all for
Thanks
coming
for
up.
talk to us.
Kimberly for setting it up.
Yeah, thanks Kimberly as well for wrangling y'all together to get us in.
That's-
On
I don't
your
know
off day.
How did you talk him out of going camping? Because I'm going to be honest. If someone was asking me, okay, you're already going camping, but they want to come
She
to a
guilted
podcast.
me, is what you
Oh,
said.
really?
You said you were going to do this, is what you said.
He's actually really soft. He's a big softie.
okay. So-
Push over, you just guilt him, and it works out just fine. But
That's true.
we were happy to do
She
this.
put
We're
together
cool.
a marketing campaign to get you to the podcast.
I mean,
She's good at that, yeah.
Don't get him wrong. I mean, I had to send him a text this morning. Don't you fucking ditch me.
I know you're thinking about it. Don't you dare do
Well, I knew he was talking about going camping. I'm like, he might have gone up last night, might have drank some beer. I don't know what he's doing.
Now he's not answering his phone, and
Yeah.
it's 9:55.
Oh, I didn't have any reception up on the mountain. Who knows? But,
Call
but
him
he was
in.
actually
We'll do it
here
over the
already. So
phone.
now then I felt bad because I was like, oh, you're already here.
That's perfect. Well, seriously, guys, thanks so much. We
No, thanks for
enjoyed
coming
it.
up, guys. It's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's taste some beer.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Absolutely.
Do it.
And liquor.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
And liquor. Oh, God.
It's
All right.
it's
And
is it
absinthe?
time yet? Can we do this? It's 11. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was episode 3, extra special brews with straight to ale, and it was one of those situations, and we're figuring this out as we do it. You get these folks to open up, and you talk about a lot of stuff while you're recording, but then once you kind of cut off the mics and sit around and have a couple beers, you learn a whole lot that you wish would have still been going while we were recording.
Yeah. And we learned that Dan has been the most talkative he's ever been on a podcast with us, which was kind of a nice compliment that Matt gave us.
That was really cool. Matt hooked us up with that to where we were like driving back. We were like, yeah, my wife called, how'd it go? Well, let me tell you how it went.
That's right.
This is exactly how it went. And cool stuff like, one of your favorite beers, I would say, in a long time, the Juicy Bunny.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
We learned some cool stuff about that as well that we're actually drinking right now as we record this.
Yeah, they put it out in some bombers for a very limited run, and then decided if they were going to distribute it, it was way too expensive, so they had to retool it because no one wanted to buy a $25 bomber, which is not necessarily untrue. People will buy $25 bombers, but
give it the right prestige.
Yeah. So we got kind of a cool story about the first round that came out. In real distribution, I think they only sent out 300 or 400 cases of it. Mm-hmm. One of our local grocery stores has about 8 of them, and I bought 6 of those.
Nice.
On the way back, or the same day that we got back from Huntsville, which is what we're drinking right now.
This is quality. When you showed up to record this and I saw you had it, I was like, did he actually go do those? Because, when we're in the room with Dan and Matt, you're like, yeah, dude, I'm going to go buy those when I get home.
Yeah.
And it's like, is he really going to do that?
I did.
No, Will did. He absolutely did. So we had a lot of fun, after we got done recording, hung out, tried the food, had drinks. Mm-hmm. Just overall, I would say if you can get to Campus 805 there in Huntsville, check it out.
Is it 805?
Is it 805? Is it 508?
I thought it was like 804 or 803 or something.
No, don't tell me I'm wrong on this now.
We're going to have to look it up and then edit that out.
I'm going to pull this Google up now. I don't have my phone. Oh, well. I think it's 805.
I may be questioning you for no reason.
It's either 805 or 508. I didn't realize it extends all the way down the block, too, though. Even Yellowhammer is considered part of the campus.
It's that whole area.
If I'm right, I'm not editing this out.
This whole thing.
Yeah.
All this dead space.
We're going to leave the AC running here in the background.
Oh, yeah. It's 805.
Oh, yep.
You
not
were
touching
right.
this. I may edit a little bit.
I should not have questioned it.
I may edit a little bit of the dead space there, but we're keeping this in there. It's live and ready to go.
That's right. So it is Campus 805. It's a cool place. We did get some interesting news that not many people know about yet. Straight to Ale, they are rebranding their can logos, their can art. And that's something that Dan broke to us during recording. You may have missed it.
Yeah, it was kind of smooth how he dropped that in there.
Yeah, and Matt just told us afterwards. He said, yeah, I didn't think we were telling people that until Dan said it on the mic. So that's kind of cool. We got some breaking news for Straight to Ale, and we get to share that with you guys.
It was an awesome experience. And shout out to the new intro-outro music.
That's right.
We freshened things up.
My buddy Ryan Saab, who I went to school with, he's a great local musician. He's out of Nashville now, but he started in Beeham.
And, like you said, it's Birmingham. That's what the song's called. So if we didn't use it, we would probably be missing a very blatant opportunity.
Yeah. And thanks to Dan and Matt and Kimberly.
I forgot, she was chilling. I felt kind of bad because we didn't have a fifth mic, and I didn't know if she was really wanting to jump in. Yeah. But she set everything up. She took care of us. So
she gave us her little spiel at the end.
Exactly. So we had another great time. It's only going to continue. Stay tuned for more episodes. Of course, find us on social media. I would say Instagram, and oddly, I've kept up the Facebook a lot because I feel like that hits the demographic that's not on Instagram.
Yeah.
That covers the spectrum, I think it does.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And on those, we're extra special brews. We also have an Untapped, which we've been trying to keep up with. It's a little spotty, but keep an eye on that because you'll see us posting from our recordings more often than not. So you'll get a little inside scoop. But yeah, follow us on social media, like and subscribe to the podcast
there you go.
If you like to do those things, and give us a rating so that we show up.
That's true. I didn't think about it. A 5-star goes a long ways.
Yes.
And if you leave a 5-star, leave a review, put your name, we'll buy you a beer sometime.
Yeah.
Sound fair?
Yep. That works for me.
Will buy you a beer. That's episode 3, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Just another victim of circumstance. 20 miles past nowhere outside of Birmingham.